Welcome to Gezintahait Street, episode Behar Bechukosai 5778. And here's your host, Bitzalel.
By the way, I want to dedicate this show to Abraham Alevi Olav Sholem. Is your site? I believe it's Shabbos.
Oh, wow.
Yaakov told me that Friday night is Halevi's day. When's Moshe's birthday?
I don't know. His wife didn't tell me yet.
It's the same day. Okay. The first thing I want to do tonight, because I don't want to forget, I didn't do it yet. I ran over here at the end of Marv without waiting for the Omer, and I don't want to forget. Dangerous. So I'm going to say the bracha, and then everybody will count the Omer with me. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'nitzvotav v'tivonu al spiros Omer
Amen.
Hayom arboim yom shehem chamisha shavuos v'chamisha yomim l'Omer. Today is, say this with me. Today is the 40th day of the Omer. It is,
which they are
5 weeks,
5 weeks,
and 5 days,
of the
Omer.
Woo!
Now, usually I sing an introductory song, but today we have a special guest. Well, but you're a special guest.
Well, for this segment, though, you're a special guest.
And the special guest, is he on there? Can you see him? Or should he come up here?
You don't want to see him.
Wait, you want him to come up here?
No, come on. With our modern technology, we can do anything. We can even manually turn a camera.
Right.
Yeah, that
In the summertime, and I'm the first to arrive in June.
Yeah.
I put the books on the seats. I get the kids ready to. Huh? That's right. Up on the beam, that's where I pray. Yeah. You see, I wanted to be the Gabbai, so here I stay. Up on the beam, that's where it's cool.
Up on the beamer,
In the Orthodox shul,
up on the beamer,
where I'm a hit,
up on the beamer,
where no one else can sit.
up on the beamer, beamer. All right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good.
Beautiful.
Things can get me into it.
Oh, don't trust me. Just getting started. You have no idea what he can get you into, you know?
Only on the Gezintahait Street.
Oh,
Enough for you.
Hashem doesn't change. Even though there's a whole bunch of levels in the chain of descent of the world, Hashem never changes. And the idea behind it is that Hashem creates the world to come with one letter, with a letter Yud. And he creates this world with one letter, with a letter Hey. And the person will think, how far am I away and removed from a single letter that I might say? A single letter is included in all the words that I could say. All the words that I could say is included in my power of speech. And how much greater is my power of thought to think up those words that I want to communicate. And how much greater are my emotional attributes which I'm communicating through that thought and speech. And how much greater is the seichel behind that communication, and how much greater is my ratzon, my desire to communicate that which I want to communicate. And that's how it is in a regular person. He's far removed in any one letter that he might say. How much more so Hashem? He's far removed. He doesn't change at all. Even though from a reflection of a reflection comes out all the worlds and all the greatness that you see when you look up into the stars and you look into the creations of the earth and all the multiplicity. Hashem himself never changes. The book that we've been learning, The Essence of Hasidus, we've said this before, explains that there are 4 new things that Hasidus brought to the world. One of them is that the Baal Shem Tov came to wake up a comatose world. One of them is that a chassid does more than the letter of the law. One of them is that Hasidus allows us to change the nature of the midos. And one is that we're able to understand godliness through our brain. Now the third one, that Hasidus allows us to change the nature of the midah. It's a famous story that the Tzemach Tzedek went to his grandfather, the Alter Rebbe, and he asked him, what is the main point, what is the main idea of Hasidus? He didn't ask him what Hasidus is. He knew what Hasidus is. It's an understanding of godliness. But he asked him, what's the main point? What is the inyan of Hasidus? And Alter Rebbe told him to change the nature of the midos. Now in this book, where it says this story, the Rebbe put in a footnote. And the footnote takes you to a letter from the previous Rebbe in a book called Atomim to a person who asked the Frierdiker Rebbe, what is Avodah? What is the service of Hasidus? How do we do this thing of changing the nature of our midos? And the previous Rebbe answered him in that letter, a long explanation, which I've given over before on Gezintahait Street. And the point of it is that even if you're a Jew who does all the Torah and mitzvah, you learn Torah as much as you're possible, and you do every mitzvah that you can, that is not yet the Avodah of Hasidus. The Avodah of Hasidus is to bring vitality and illumination into your service of God. And he tells you the way that's accomplished. And perhaps we'll talk about it later in the show. I think now we'll have a musical interlude if Mendel is ready. Mendel, you ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
We're always ready.
You're always ready. Born ready. All right, let's go.
To move somewhere else.
Okay. We gotta move up.
Move up, Morty.
Move up.
I'm moving up.
Move on up.
Moving on up.
Through the neighborhood.
Up on the beam of it. We'll be having some fun. Where it's cool. We'll be having some fun up on the beach.
All right, chairs up. All right, let's see everybody. Slime, get the lights.
Get the lights and get the lights.
Oh, we're
Get the party.
Hit the lights.
We're doing the lights because it's after like Romer now. We already have like that extra.
Yeah, I got that extra, carcass and stuff.
No, yeah, we have like extra post logbook owner flexibility.
This show is brought to you by Coitus and
So far, I didn't actually listen.
All right,
to the music
we got another double header. Parshas Behar Bechukosai. All right, and so we're gonna do Parshas Behar. I'll start with that. Two great poems by the amazing Jewish poet Ayin Heiss. So thanks, Ayin. Every week, just what's it called? We have these beautiful lyrics.
You're gonna lead us off.
You ready?
Nice.
Go after the lighting,
Leading us off.
special lighting.
Looks so beautiful.
It's really getting high tech.
Beautiful.
Hey, tzama, 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 konashi, tzama, koma, 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 konashi. Hey, tzama, 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 konashi, tzama, koma, 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 konashi. And do not offer the calf on wobbly legs. Remove the mother bird for taking her eggs. Hey, in this way our offerings are only pure. All taints of cruelty we must abjure. Oh yeah, they don't let my where we once were slaves, God made us free. As we travel, the older we grow spiritually. We came to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah's crown. May we climb to the heavens and never fall down. Back to you, Bitzalel!
They have those.
Where am I going?
Okay. It's a whole nother conversation.
Bunch of weird stuff. What happened to the chips?
Oh.
just,
That's one, I don't know.
I'm half asleep and I need to do something to keep awake. And, this is activities.
So now, when we understand how Hashem doesn't change, even among all the greatness of the details of his creation, now we can start to look at the details of his creation. And we'll be able to see how great he is in the creation. Not last week, but about 6 or 7 weeks before that, I was explaining about, we're explaining about how we have to know that there are 10 spirits in this 4 worlds. And in order to bring an understanding of that, I was explaining the 10 spirits of the world of Yetzirah, the world of formation. Tonight I want to explain a little bit about the 10 spirits of the world of Asiya, the world of action. We explained about the 10 spirits of the world of Yetzirah using the Psalm of David, number 150, where it says, praise Hashem, in many different ways, in 10 different ways, which goes through Chochmah and Bina and Chesed and Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach and Hod, down to Malchus, and then how the Neshama praises Hashem. The metaphor for this, how Hashem dresses himself into the 10 spheros of the world of action, is like a person who wants to accomplish something or build a building. And that thing that he desires has to contain intellect, emotions, thought, speech. We're all dressed in the action being done. First, there needs to be intellect. There needs to be wisdom. Because without it, you wouldn't know how to accomplish this thing you want to accomplish. But it's not the essence of wisdom, in the essence of the neshama. It's only a wisdom to accomplish an action. And it's called wisdom of action, or intellect of action. For example, when you use your intellect to know how to weave a certain pattern, or to fix a certain thing in physicality, and the expert in these things is called wise in that particular occupation. He's a wise mechanic, he's a wise weaver. Like, for example, the work of the Mishkan. Everybody knows what the Mishkan is? That was a dwelling place for Hashem in the desert. Hashem told Moshe, who should make the Mishkan? The ones who have wise hearts. The ones who have chachmas legs. They are the ones that should build it. This wisdom, only though it was to accomplish a physical action, is considered a chachma. It's considered a wisdom. Its source is in the power of wisdom in the essence of the soul. Like all other more refined wisdoms in the mind, which come to produce emotions, thoughts, speech, and actions. But the wisdom of action is a lower level than other kinds of wisdom, like, for example, science, the wisdom of mathematics. It's a lower level of wisdom. It's a wisdom for action. It pertains to the power of intellect for action. And from that potential of the wisdom of action comes out actual wisdom of how to accomplish the action. So also from speech and thought and emotions of this wisdom are drawn, and he's being very exact here, wisdom of speech, wisdom of thought, and wisdom of emotions for this particular action. Because from this wisdom comes the detailed understanding of how to accomplish the action, and those details is called the bina of the action. So too, the emotion of love is born in the heart. So too, the attributes which are midos, which pertain to action. In other words, just like my love and fear are born into my heart, so too the midos of action, which is the measurement of how I should act, the way of chesed, means the action should be on a grand scale. Or the midos of gevura, the action should be concentrated and held back to a certain way. And the blend of the two, of how much to hold back and how much to spread out, is called the tiferes of action. And all of this comes and is directed by the wisdom, the seichel of this action. So too, in building a building. Whether it will be a big building or it will be a small building according to what's needed. The intellect decrees what's needed for this particular building. So really, the start of action is not the wisdom, it's not the intellect of how to perform. It is the ratzon, it's the will and the desire to accomplish this particular action. That is the start of this action, not the intellect, which tells you how to do the action, but the desire to do the action. From that desire is generated that chachma, that wisdom, how to do it. And from that, seichel flows to the midos, the measurements of how to do the action, until finally you get to speech and actual action to accomplish the desire. Now, this process that we just explained how it is in a person can be understood on the godly plane, which is the sen spheres of malchus of Asiya. Which is Keser, the crown, Chachma, and Bina, and the midos of the world of Asiya. Remember, you're going to give me a high sign when it's time to break? The original source...
You tell me when you want to break. How long you want to go?
The original source of this action is Kesser. It's Hashem's desire for this lowest, the godliness that is most hidden in the world of action. It's a separate existence, even from the existing spirituality of Bria and Yetzirah of the higher worlds, like the heaven and the earth in our world and all of the hosts. So Hashem has a desire for the heaven and the earth and all the hosts, and that desire is called Kesser Malchus of Asiya, the royal crown of this world that we're in. Then, that Ratzon produces a Chochmah and a Bina, an intellect of how that world, the blueprint of that world, but only pertaining to the world of action. Like it says, everything Hashem wants, He does. Kol asher chafetz oseh. For example, the gates open, the time moves, and the stars spin around. With wisdom, He establishes the earth. How does the wisdom come out to establish the earth? From Hashem's desire for the earth. He executes through this wisdom judgment, that's midos, judgment, on the earth, the heavenly ministers, on the heavenly ministers, and all the hosts of the heavens. And each one is directed through divine providence, each one in its particular level. So this judgment is the midah of Geburah, of the world of Asiya. And then He gives sustenance to everything. Everything is alive and He gives life to it. That's called the chesed, the kindness of the world of Asiya. And He measures the flow through Chochmas of the Torah, and He measures the flow through the wisdom of the Torah. And the Chochmah and Bina, the wisdom and understanding in the world of Asiya, are called the mother and father of the world of Asiya, Abba v'Ima, and Chagas, which is the midas of Asiya, is Zer Anton of Asiya, and the speech, like Hashem says, let there be a heaven, is the decree of the king, which is Malchus of Asiya. And when we focus the microscope a little more, we'll see that in Malchus of Asiya are all the 10 spirits. The Vant Mashiach now. And now we'll have a musical interlude.
Interludes.
They're interludes.
Interlude.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Spontaneous and
Where's the lights? Where's the lights?
Where are them lights?
Where are the lights?
Go, more than.
Okay. First of all, a quick call out to Denny Krasowski, who's watching. Amazing, wonderful musician. We're very honored that you're watching.
He's one of the guys in the Dixie.
That's it. Yeah, very accomplished musician. So we're very honored that you're watching. Ivan Yeshua Harris, of course. We love you. We love you, Yeshua. And actually, wanted to also just give a little plug for. If you go to jewishspokane.com.org, I think .com, Jewish Spokane, there's a shliach out there, a small community, and he's doing a raffle, and I supported it. I hope everybody else will do the same. It's a shliach who's out there doing unbelievable things. So just a little, wow, twice in one. That's Pamayim Kitay. Pamayim Kitay. I believe it's www.jewishspokane.com. So if you're watching, if that's the right one, let us know. If it's not, put the right link on there. Every little bit counts. Now, Parshas Bechukosai. It's another double header this week. Another double header. We got 2 parshas this week again.
Tomorrow.
This is the last one for a while, right? The last double header. Next year, by the way, you got a Chaparine. This is the last. The next year, I believe, is a Shana Mubarak leap year. There's only going to be 1 double parsha. So this is it. You got a Chaparine here. Parshas Bechukosai. Ready? Ba-bam, 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 ba-bam. That's safe within my home. You will leave from old stores. You will never feel alone. Hey, walk in my path. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Walk in my path. And beneath the transgression feels good at first. Yeah, but when that's concluded, yeah, we suffer for the worst. Oh, walk in my path. Yeah, walk in my path. And many a good deed inflicts a suffering toil. Hey, yet best fulfills our need for the health and growth of soul. Walk in my path. Yeah, walk in my path. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, walk in my path. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, walk in my path. Back to you, Bitzalel.
I like the last picture. Beautiful. Good addition.
I'm an artist.
What are you doing?
Come on, Hirsch, if you knew that.
The bottom line is Hashem leaves all of the majesty in his royal command of the heaven and earth only to connect with us. He's our Father. He loves us. He's begging us to serve him. Not because for him. He's begging us to serve him because he knows it's good for us. It's all he thinks about is us. Hashem has no other thoughts. There ain't nothing else for him. You want to say he has 1 billion angels that are singing his praises? It's like if you'll say about a guy who owns treasure houses full of gold. He has 1 million treasure houses, and each one of them is an 8-story building filled with rooms full of gold. And you're going to say the guy has a lot of pennies. It's no praise at all to say that Hashem's greatness in the world. What's the real praise of Hashem? You know, there's different kind of mitzvahs. There's mishpatim, which makes sense. No, three kinds. Mishpatim, Eidos, and Chukim. Chukim are the ones that don't make sense at all. It's just a command of the king and we do it. And Mishpatim is the ones that make sense. And Eidos is the ones that he tells us, like, for example, keep Yom Tov. So why is it called Eidos? Eidos means a witness. Hashem is being a witness that we are his people. And he finds a way to connect with us. Keep it in mind, it's the whole basis of the relationship with the Jews and Hashem. It's really the real thing. It's only us and Hashem. Now we're going to have our famous sign-off.
Famous or infamous? Both. Come on, boys. Let's do it. Bring it in.
Here we go.
Over there.
Come on, Hirsch. Let's do it. Remember the 3 rules. You gotta be out of tune or key.
And out of your mind?
Out of your mind. Oh, wait, there's 4 rules. Wait, 4 rules. The position. 4 rules. Out of tune, out of words, out of your mind, and out of rhythm.
That's over. That's over.
And out of sobriety.
Right, yeah.
All right. That's pre-montat. No, excellent. Ready? Do it.
Wait, and the real thing of it, it's just the Kedusha. The real thing of it, everybody, we're expressing our love for you.
Gezintahait, 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 my friends!
Remember, kids, Gezintahait.
Gezintahait! Woo!
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll call it like a